to start off, I just want to say, like, the amount of feedback that I get about Methylene Blue, the emails that I receive on a daily basis are pretty amazing. And just also just the comments on our post about the benefits and how people feel. And I just wrote some down. I mean, you feel plugged in, a sense of focus. Methylene Blue has given me a noticeable bump in my cognition. I do not feel as brain foggy as I have. This person says, I did not feel it like I expected, but I believe in what it's doing to help my brain stay sharp. And sometimes that's my case. Sometimes when I take it, I don't necessarily immediately feel something, but I know what I'm doing. And I know how powerful it is and how also important it is for my health, my brain, the whole shebang. So let's start back. We have a lot to talk about. So Dr. Ryan is really going to go into detail, but we're also going to try to bring it back, I guess somewhat dumb it down so it's not so scientific. But if you are the sciencey nerds out there, like Dr. Ryan is, we're going to hit home on that
charge
as well. So back to the basics. We talk about mitochondria and how Methylene Blue really helps the mitochondria. But let's start with what is mitochondria? What does it do? And then we can lead into how Methylene Blue.
Yeah, totally. We'll do that. Absolutely. I'm so distracted. What I'm looking at is my computer and your comments. So I love it. Already the board is blowing up. This is great. But to your point, though, almost 2 years ago, we launched this. We did a similar type of Zoom and we said a lot of things. And I definitely remember saying things to the effect that, like, look, people, if you go out and you Google the benefits of Methylene Blue, you're going to be blown away. Like, and Google does it in a weird way where it make claims. We're not going to sit here and make claims, but there's some powerful, powerful stuff out there. But of course, knowing your source of information is important. That's what Lisa always try to preach, is be careful of the misinformation and disinformation cycle. And there's a lot of that going on in Methylene Blue, but since it's been around for so long and so widely studied, I just wanted to reiterate one thing from our 2 years ago. That was, I said to people, I sat here and said, if you Google and you see the contraindications and you get scared because you're on a SSRI for mood depressive disorder or something to that effect that has drug interactions, I said that at this low dose, at this 20 milligram film low dose, I said it would be highly effective, but I would not be able to, I'm not going to sit here and advise you to do that or override your doctor's advice. How many people? Tons of people have emailed and said that it's been an amazing game changer for their mental health, for their brain fog, for their low energy, and for all these different things that we're going to talk about today. So that's actually really cool to be validated in a sense from that.
And while you're saying that too, this can help. It has helped many decrease their medication use of their SSRIs, or maybe even possibly eliminate the use of it.
Amazing. Yeah, they have. And so really, really exciting stuff.
Yeah.
But you got to do a short history, right? Originally developed as a textile dye. They were using it to stain microbiology, like the little slides where you see bacteria, and they noticed that it was killing viruses and some bacteria. So then they developed it. It was a very powerful anti-malarial drug. To this day, it is still considered a magic bullet. It is still considered by the World Health Organization as an essential medicine. It is still used for things like methemoglobinemia, which is just where essentially the tissues become hypoxic because they're not carrying oxygen to their full capacity. So
it's the first treatment. It's the first line of treatment.
Yeah. Right? So they're still widely using it, and it's got incredible utility. But since then, it has been studied in so many different places. Our longevity pioneers, all of our anti-aging docs, everybody is starting to adopt this therapy. And it's been fun and exciting. And we were an early adopter even just 2 years ago. Now more companies are offering it, but still, you look around it and see there's still such a world of explosive growth on Methylene Blue.
Sure.
And people are just having a blast with it.
Yeah.
But we do need to really understand it. We do need to be responsible with the use because there are some things you need to watch out for. So we'll cover some of those today.
Okay.
So what did you say we want to do?
Back to it.
Sorry, that's maybe.
It's great. Mitochondria. We talk about how it helps our mitochondria. Let's just start with what is our mitochondria, just for those that maybe don't know or maybe need a little refresher.
Yeah, mitochondria is what we learned back in the day is the powerhouse of the cell. This is where, remember now, energy is not created or transferred. Created or destroyed. It's transferred. So in the mitochondria, that's our energy powerhouse. That's where the cell is getting the energy it needs to carry out its duties, its functions. And what we need in that mitochondria is for the electron transport chain. That's the complex set of reactions that occur. We need that to be operating at a very efficient level. It operates very efficiently at a young age, and over time it starts to break down. And Methylene Blue is very, very unique in its application for mitochondria health because it is a redox agent, which means it both does reduction and oxidation reaction. So it is electron donor and an electron sort of recycler or receiver. And I want to use this metaphor of sort of a train. I'd used it before and I kind of liked it. And it's a train going down the tracks. And remember, energy not created nor destroyed. So the train is burning coal to generate forward motion and energy. So it also is burning and creating lots of toxic byproducts or waste. And that's in the form of the smoke and the soot that's coming out. And those are the byproducts in our cells that over time, our body gets less and less efficient at wiping out and cleaning up.
Okay.
So not only does methylene blue donate to the energy reaction, it's an input. It can donate an electron and actually feed the cycle and optimize the cycle. But it also acts as a potent antioxidant and cleans up our cellular waste after aerobic respiration. That's so key. So in a science way, it can make sense to everybody in the sense that, look, there is a trade-off. It's got to be like, I love the antioxidant component to it.
100%.
I think that's just really, really cool. So,
right.
And
like
that's
you said, cellular waste. Like we need to continue to clean it up. And if that is declining as we age, just natural. We got to support it.
And remember, cellular waste can be oxidants. Those are your reactive oxygen species. Those are your free radicals. Those are the things that left unchecked when they accumulate beyond too high levels. And they are normal. They are absolutely normal, and they're created in everyday use from exercise and our exposure to pollutants and some of the different things we do. But when you let them go unchecked and get too high, they can cause damage to our lipids, to our DNA, to our protein. Right. And that stuff can be irreversible. And that is sort of the cascade that will start to lead down the road to cancer, to some of these metabolic neurodegenerative diseases, which we'll talk about, Alzheimer's and Parkinson's today. We'll talk about these things. That's where the insult it happens. Yeah. That's where it can kind of begin.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, we all know somebody or most of us know somebody that is either suffering from some neurodegenerative disease.
We do.
Or and especially we talked about the caregivers. I mean, sure. How difficult this is. My aunt suffers from pretty bad dementia, and it's debilitating, and it takes a toll on the whole family.
Yeah.
So there's just we and this is not just. Would you want me to grab that?
Technical
this is not paper fill. This is not just for if you want to say treatment of a condition. This is really used. This needs to be used by everybody as a preventative measure. Like, and you were saying, I mean, athletes.
Oh yeah, definitely. On the endurance side for sure. Right. So athletes can use it before they're going for endurance or for increased output. The more metabolically healthy that you are, the less you need to take methylene blue. You don't need it every day, but if you're metabolically dysfunctional, you're going to need methylene blue pretty much on a daily basis, and depending on what dose you want to land on. But yeah,
yes, I've actually had people say, ask me if they can take it every day. They say they've noticed how it really has helped with their depression, their anxiety, but the days that they are not taking it, it comes right back. I said, yes, your body is needing this. You need this, so take this every day. Good example there. Okay, so because neurodegenerative disease is a big one for it. Yeah. Let's just kind of talk about
let's dive into that.
Dementia,
for
Alzheimer's, Parkinson's.
So exactly. So remember what I said about the mitochondria in the powerhouse of the cell. So the brain is a high energy demand center, right? So it's highly concentrated with mitochondria. So you're talking about the brain is 2% of our body weight, consumes about 20% of our energy. It's a big one. You also have the heart, you have the big organs like the liver. You've got testes, so you have your sperm and your eggs. So we're talking about fertility, but in the brain, it's very, very important, and so when you look at these neurodegenerative diseases and the breakdown that happens, I mean, there's a lot of promise, a lot of benefit now coming from methylene blue in those particular areas. So, the way it works too, it also increases some of our neurotransmitters, serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine. It acts, and this is sort of one of the contraindications, but it acts as an MAOI. That's kind of a drug class. It's got a monoamine oxidase inhibitor, but it basically slows the breakdown of those neurotransmitters, increasing in concentration. So if you're on an SSRI that increases serotonin, they say that the concern would be too much serotonin.
Right.
And it can cause serotonin syndrome. I'm telling you right now, and all the evidence supports that at 20 milligrams oral dose, that is not a real risk.
Right. Because typically when you Google it, right, look it up, it's with the studies are with high doses
and intravenous doses.
Yeah, a lot of times you go to a functional medical clinic or they do methylene blue IVs. I mean, these are super high doses directly into your bloodstream. So that is not what this is. This is 20 milligrams. So it's the lowest effective dose. So like Ryan said at the beginning, not only do we feel like this is safe, it's also effective for everyone.
Yeah, and as far as the brain goes, remember the brain is very, very, very difficult to treat. Drugs on the market have a hard time with it. The brain and the spinal cord make up our central nervous system,
Right.
and there's a blood-brain barrier that is very protective, right? For obvious reasons. Methylene blue, though, has both fat-loving and water-loving properties, and it's also a very small molecule. Methylene blue readily passes the blood-brain barrier, and it can highly concentrate in the brain's mitochondria. So that is also another reason for so much of this interest and study in it for brain health as well. So, and that's of course what we're looking at with neurodegenerative diseases, with Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, you're really focused on what's going on here with our tau proteins and some of these other beliefs. And, they're working through it. It's obviously they're having a hard time treating it though.
Sure. And again,
well, I think we're on the early phase of it because people, it takes 15 to 20 years before a bad lifestyle habits before that kicks in. And how many people have we seen that are living? 75% of people are overweight or obese, and there's a big wave of neurodegenerative disease heading our way. Coming.
Yeah, which is sad and scary. I mean, so scary. We have to be aware of it. We have to be proactive. This is not just to be methylene blue is not just to be reactive, right? Again, something's going on, so we react and we take something. We need to be proactive about our health. That is one of the main things that Live Good in general is all about, but so important with methylene blue. So I'm going to put it in the water just so we can see.
Let's do it. Yeah. I'm sorry I didn't do that in the first place. So tell them that's the foil. So it comes in a foil.
So if you don't know, that was empty. You open it up and here's all your strips. Okay. You have 15 strips. Because as designed, you're not necessarily taking every day, but again, if you're in a state where decline and you really need it, take it in every day. Our prices are so affordable; it doesn't matter regardless.
Yeah,
buy 2 boxes.
And we're going to talk about that at the end, how to maximize the use. But
right. So, I mean, actually, our CEO Ben just did a post about where he was showing several ways to take it.
Mm-hmm.
This is one way. Some people do drink it in water. The goal is, it can make your mouth very blue. So if you haven't done it, warning: your mouth, your teeth, your gums, your tongue will be very, very
blue tongue.
So some people like to do it this way because it helps avoid, but really you would love it to dissolve in your mouth, right? For the highest absorption. But I know that it's hard to walk around every day with blue because it does take some time. I have heard that if you drink something acidic after that, it helps the blue. So like a small glass of orange juice, something, maybe squeeze a bunch of lemon and water.
So
yeah.
Let's talk. Do you want to continue to talk dosing or should we talk indications?
Well, no. I still want to talk about, so we talked about the neurodegenerative diseases, but I also want to talk about a couple things, just hit on, because I know this is actually a growing problem of fatty liver disease, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And there's some promising benefits about methylene blue's action.
Mm-hmm.
I was reading a study, actually, it says its ability to combat excess fat accumulation in the liver. That's one of the most promising aspects of methylene blue. The study showed that methylene blue activates AMPK, an enzyme that acts as a metabolic master switch. This activation leads to increased fat burning and decreased fat production in the liver. This is a big deal because, I mean, fatty liver is huge. The fact that it's growing has a lot to do with our lifestyle. 100%, but the fact that it's growing, we need to do things to help this.
Mm-hmm.
So fatty liver is a great one. And then what about UTIs? Because I know that's a big deal.
Yeah, sure, can help there.
Can help with UTIs. It's a great treatment instead of prescription medications.
Well, you leave that to the physician to decide, depending on severity
100%.
and all the other things.
Yes, but it's highly effective against UTIs as it's excreted by your kidneys into your bladder, where it reaches a very high concentration and becomes a potent oxidant stress that kills virtually any pathogen there without disrupting the microbiome.
Well, I would focus on the fact that there's a lot of studies in all of these areas. So
sure,
I think you have I've provided you with, I don't know,
I have a lot of studies,
100 plus studies on methylene blue for all these different areas.
Yes. So if you do want some studies, I'm happy to go ahead and forward them. But again, if you look up the benefits of methylene blue, try to find articles that come from PubMed. That's a great source. You'll see a ton of them. It's hard because you need to kind of weed through studies that are not accurate or reliable. So we like PubMed. Okay, so dosing.
I'll jump right into that. So when you're looking at IV, the prevailing dosing is all based on IV for some reason, 1 to 2 milligrams per kilogram per day. sometimes up to 4 milligrams per kilogram. That's IV, and that can get very high. Assuming that that's 100% bioavailable, you look at oral dosing. I'm just going to say oral dosing, low end would be somewhere between 20 to 60 milligrams a day. Up to, they say 200 milligrams is probably about the threshold for consider getting into moderate to high dosages.
Right.
So where we are at 20 milligrams is not only on the low end, like the low end of the low dosing, but it's also highly efficacious. So a lot of the studies have shown even downwards of 10 milligrams. And some providers right now are recommending they start and they titrate up. They'll start at 5 milligrams, maybe go to 10, maybe on up to 20. So there's a lot of different dosing protocols out there, but I want you to be rest assured that 20 milligrams is a very safe, low, and effective dose.
Right. Okay. When should we take, and are there anything to enhance?
Oh yeah, you know all the answers. You love that. Come on. In the morning on an empty stomach is usually best. Fasting protocol is great because you can increase autophagy. It can increase the cell turnover. It can really help clean up the cell waste a little bit. Of course, if you're an athlete, you can do it 30 minutes before your endurance or your hard push. And then you want to talk about the photobiomodulation, please do. I know getting sunlight.
Getting sun or some type of red light therapy. If you get sauna use, it's great to time it where you take 30, 60 minutes prior to either going outside or getting in a sauna or something with red light therapy, which, red light therapy is becoming more and more
mainstream.
Mainstream as well. Yeah, so I think a lot of you do have it, even if it's a small amount. Like I do, when I do a specific IV at my functional medical clinic, just, obviously for all, this is all preventative. They actually give you methylene blue and they put the red light therapy. They put red lights on your wrists. So just, any little thing that can enhance it.
Yep.
It's great to take before a walk, nice.
So I like to do it every other day. Some people do 3 days on, 3 days off. Some do a week on, a week off. Some can do a month on, a month off. Cycling is not a bad idea. And there was a question about it building up and becoming toxic. That is not the case. It is metabolized by the liver. It does get normally excreted. I think the half-life is somewhere around 24 hours total, but that is for the parent compound. But yeah, of course, you want to encourage the mitochondria to establish itself and increase efficiency. And that's the whole goal here, is to prompt the body to use it, but then to also sort of trigger some of these other normal natural processes to do on their own. I forget what I was going to say. Something to that effect. Okay. Ben did do that video though on the ways to take the blue. I like the film. I put it in the back of the tongue. My tongue's a little blue, but I'll switch it I'll swallow it with water. If you put it in 4 ounces of water, you can just take it like a quick shot and not blue. If you did it in this much water, you would probably use a straw, and the straw will reduce the blue. And that was what Ben was demonstrating on the video as well. So multiple ways to take this and so to reduce the blue. But if you like the blue and you're cool with the blue and you want the oral absorption or the sublingual buccal absorption, then you can get this thing to work a little faster.
Sure. So I just personally base it on like what I have to do that day. If I don't really have to be around much, talking on camera or doing something, I will let it dissolve, fully in my mouth. So you got to do what works for you. All
right. Couple concerns for people though. If you have a G6PD deficiency, which some people do, if you're not sure what that is, ask your physician.
But typically, if you have it, correct?
Yes and no. If you've been tested or not, I don't, but you should. But most people, anyway, that would be some concern. Pregnancy or breastfeeding is contraindicated. That's a no-no. Children is just, you're the parent, not us. That's up to you guys.
You mentioned something about ADHD.
Yeah, of course. Very, very powerful. It's being studied more and more for ADHD. And I think some parents are actually, based on what emails I'm getting, some are using it to augment their prescription medication, hopefully withdraw that.
Right.
What else? Oh, so the drug interaction with SSRIs or SNRIs and being careful with that. Like I said earlier, the 20 milligrams oral dose has shown more benefit than risk as far as like worried about serotonin syndrome. However, I am not your physician. I cannot give you medical advice. This is something you should clear by your doctor. If you are on an SSRI or an SNRI or an MAOI, you definitely would want to let them know that you're either using or considering using methylene blue.
And if they haven't heard of it, bring the research and communicate that the studies against it with being on the medication have to do with high doses and how low this dose. So again, dosing is very important when it comes to that.
It really is.
And what about USP? Want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. So one of the concerns with methylene blue is heavy metal contamination, and that's why you have to, if you're going to take methylene blue, it has to be United States Pharmacopoeia, USP, and that is what we have here.
Yeah, you see
it's
it
more
on the
expensive.
back.
It's difficult to source. You'll see methylene blue USP. You'll find it on the certificate of analysis. If it's not USP, it's probably industrial grade for laboratory staining and things, or textile staining and things of that nature. Highly contaminated with metals for sure.
And as you know, when something becomes more popular, you see it more and more and more and more and more. So you need to be aware of this. You need to make sure it's USP. You need to make sure there's the certificates of analysis for heavy metal testing. You have to make sure of this.
Another area of concern would be dosing. I've seen some liquid droppers. There's no way there's no way. Most people don't know how many they're getting. They don't know what one drop is equivalent to. How many milligrams.
Right.
You know, and the calibrations can be difficult on those droppers. You really want to maybe kind of consider not using the oral droppers. Maybe focus on, the films are great because you know exactly what you're getting per film.
I just want to jump in real quick and just say our price, because like I said, there's 15 strips in here. For if you're a member, it's $12.95. That's crazy, pretty insane. And if you're not a member, our retail price is $19.95. Still pretty crazy. So that's for 15 strips. And like we said, we like to alternate. So this would get you about a 30-day supply, or a month supply. But if you need it every day, guys, it's 2. I mean, not a big deal. The studies are, I mean, again, it's so promising that if you're spending the $30, $40 a month to be able to take it every day, just try it for yourself. You will see. I do see some things about staining. It's funny. I did have a friend that when she took it, it was a college friend. She sent me a picture, and she had just started with Invisalign. She wasn't wearing her Invisalign, but when you do Invisalign, sometimes they put those little things, the sticky things on your teeth to help the adjustments. And those things were like bright blue. But throughout the day, it went away. It didn't stain it, but it just took a little longer in those areas to go away. But it's always a great thing if you have, veneers or anything like that, just talk to your dentist.
Yeah, exactly. So I just wanted to, I know we'll wrap it up here shortly, but I want to run down a few things. We talked about the mental mood capacity, its ability to increase or raise the mental, some of the neurotransmitters, right, that are typically involved in mood regulation. We talked about energy efficiency. We've talked about how it can help with brain fog and fatigue. I know we sort of mentioned detoxification, but it is an important part of our detoxification pathway, because again, the liver being a high energy demand center, it can support the mitochondria there and act as an antioxidant, very powerful there as well. And let me just make sure I covered everything. I'm pretty sure I did.
We talked about antimicrobial.
Exercise performance. Yeah, my antimicrobial you said. Travel and jet lag is another one. Excessive exposure to radiation, which again you would get under commercial aircraft.
Also,
but like,
if you saw in the media, there was a big thing about RFK.
RFK was in the airplane
when he was in an airplane.
Yeah.
So that kind of flew through social media.
Yeah, and you are seeing an uptick in big time influencers promoting and talking about it. So, and very reputable physicians as well. So we'll see where it goes. But for right now, we're happy with the results so far, and we know so are you, because the emails and the testimonials have been outstanding.
Yes.
And just looking at the comments today, I appreciate all the feedback, guys.
Is there anything that it should not be taken with? I know we say take it first thing in the morning. We don't have to, but taking it first thing in the morning is ideal. Can it be taken with other supplements? Yeah,
that's the area that. No, it doesn't really bind or keep. It wouldn't have any competition for absorption, but I do like it on an empty stomach. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. And personally, I either go from taking it every other day, and sometimes if I know I'm like, so example, just this weekend we were away for 3 days with both our girls in a volleyball tournament. It was lack of sleep. It was a lot. So I decided to take it those 3 days in a row. So now I'll just take a few days off until I get back on my cycle. So, play around with what works for you when you need it. Again, if you have a condition that this really supports, taking it every day is very beneficial. And as a preventative measure, we take it on and off, some format that works for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool.
All right,
well, that does it for us today.
That came in that you saw?
There's so many, but we covered. Yeah, I think we just covered them in different times. That's why I'm seeing so many like that. But
okay, awesome. Yeah, and if you guys have any further questions, reach me at lisa@livegood.com. Other questions that maybe didn't pertain to this topic, I'm here for you. So go ahead and shoot me an email.
All right, guys.
And join us again. I know this is Tuesday, but join us every Monday at noon. We'll be here next week with regular time. And happy to bring something high quality and informative to you every week.
Thank you for watching.
Yes, take care.
See you next time, guys. Bye-bye.